In a quiet corner of the galaxy, far beyond the reach of Earth's blue skies and bustling cities, humanity clung to its fragile foothold in space. For decades, humans had dreamed of exploring the stars, but their ambitions were overshadowed by the Synarchan, an ancient council of alien rulers who had governed countless species for thousands of years. The Synarchan were not kind rulers. They saw weaker races as tools to be used or discarded, and they tolerated no rebellion. Humanity, still young and inexperienced in the vastness of space, had little choice but to bow to their will. Jack Harper sat alone in his dimly lit lab aboard the orbital research station Argo*. He was a man in his early 30s with sharp features and a restless mind. His dark hair was always slightly messy from running his fingers through it while he worked. Jack had spent most of his life studying the stars, searching for answers to questions that others thought impossible to solve. Tonight, however, something unusual had caught his attention. On the screen before him flickered an encrypted message. It had arrived unexpectedly, sent from an unknown source deep within uncharted space. At first, Jack thought it might be a mistake, a random burst of data misdirected to the station. But as he decoded the message piece by piece, he realized it was anything but random. The words were fragmented, but the meaning was clear. There was a flaw in the Synarchan's empire, a hidden weakness that could bring their reign to an end. Jack leaned back in his chair, his heart pounding. Could this be real? If it was, it would change everything, not just for humanity, but for every species crushed under the Synarchan's iron grip. He glanced at the clock on the wall. It was late, and the station was mostly empty except for a skeleton crew. Most of his colleagues had already retired to their quarters, but one person remained awake. Lily Monroe, a brilliant astrophysicist and Jack's closest friend, was working in the adjacent lab. Without hesitation, Jack grabbed the tablet containing the decoded message and hurried to find her. When he entered her workspace, she looked up, surprised to see him so agitated. Lily was younger than Jack, with curly brown hair tied back in a loose ponytail and warm eyes that seemed to understand people better than they understood themselves. She had been part of the team stationed on Argo* since its launch, and her calm demeanor often balanced out Jack's impulsiveness. "What is it?" she asked, noticing the urgency in his expression. "I think we found something big," Jack said, holding up the tablet. "Something that could change everything." Lily raised an eyebrow. "That sounds dramatic even for you. What are you talking about?" He handed her the device, explaining what he had discovered. As she read the message, her eyes widened. This could actually work," she murmured. "But if the Synarchan catch wind of this, we're dead." "They won't," Jack replied firmly. "Not if we move fast enough." For hours, the two of them pored over the data, piecing together clues hidden within the message. It spoke of a network of energy hubs spread across the galaxy, each powering the Synarchan's massive fleets and maintaining their control over conquered worlds. One hub, referred to cryptically as the Nexus Core, appeared to have a critical vulnerability. If destroyed, it could destabilize the entire system, leaving the Synarchan powerless. As dawn approached, Jack and Lily came to a decision. This wasn't just a scientific discovery, it was a call to action. Humanity had waited long enough for its chance to stand tall among the stars. With determination burning in their hearts, they resolved to follow the trail laid out before them, no matter how dangerous it might be. Little did they know, their journey would test not only their courage, but also their faith in humanity's ability to rise above its past. Jack and Lily knew they couldn't tackle this mission alone. The encrypted message had given them a starting point, but the path ahead was filled with unknown dangers. They needed help, someone who understood the Synarchan's tactics, someone who had faced them before. After some research, they discovered the name of a former rebel pilot who had once fought against the Synarchan, Daniel Cross. Though retired and living in obscurity, Daniel was rumored to have intimate knowledge of the alien empire's operations. The two scientists tracked him down to a remote outpost on the edge of human-controlled space. The outpost was little more than a collection of rusted metal buildings surrounded by barren rock and endless desert. When Jack and Lily arrived, they found Daniel sitting outside a small repair shop, tinkering with an old shuttle engine. He was older than they expected, with graying hair and a face lined by years of hardship. His piercing blue eyes studied them carefully as they approached. "What do you want?" he asked gruffly, wiping grease-stained hands on a rag. "We need your help," Jack said without hesitation. "We've found something, a weakness in the Sinarkan's empire." Daniel snorted. "A lot of people think they've found weaknesses. Most of them end up dead." "This is different," Lily chimed in, holding out the tablet with the decoded message. "We know about the energy hubs, and we think one of them, the Nexus core, could bring the whole system down." Daniel took the tablet and read the information silently. His expression hardened as he scrolled through the data. For a long moment, he didn't say anything. Then, finally, he looked up. "If this is real, it's bigger than you realize. Bigger than any of us. You're talking about taking on the Sinarkan directly. Do you even understand what that means?" "We understand," Jack replied firmly. "But we don't have a choice. If we don't try, humanity will always be stuck under their thumb." Daniel sighed deeply, rubbing his temples. "Fine. I'll help you. But listen carefully. This isn't just about bravery or skill. The Sinarkan don't play fair. They'll do whatever it takes to stop you. Are you ready for that?" Jack and Lily exchanged glances. Neither of them had an answer, but they nodded anyway. Over the next few days, Daniel became their guide, teaching them everything he knew about surviving in hostile territory. He explained how the Sinarkan used fear to maintain control, striking swiftly and mercilessly at anyone who dared oppose them. He also revealed details about the energy hubs, massive structures scattered across the galaxy that acted as power sources for the Sinarkan's fleet. Destroying one hub would cause chaos, but taking out the Nexus core, the central hub, would cripple their entire network. "Finding it won't be easy," Daniel warned. "It's hidden deep in Sinarkan-controlled space, guarded by their best warriors. Even getting close will be nearly impossible." Despite the odds, Jack refused to back down. "Then we'll find a way," he said. "We have to." As they prepared for the journey, Daniel led them to a derelict starship docked at the edge of the outpost. The ship, which he called the Eclipse Asterisk, was old and battered, its hull scarred from countless battles. But beneath its worn exterior lay advanced technology scavenged from other vessels. With Daniel's expertise, they'd managed to get the Eclipse Asterisk running again, outfitting it with makeshift weapons and a cloaking device designed to evade enemy sensors. On the eve of their departure, Lily stood on the deck of the Eclipse Asterisk, staring out at the stars. "Do you really think we can do this?" she asked quietly. Jack joined her, leaning against the railing. "I don't know," he admitted. "But if we don't try, nothing will ever change. This might be our only chance to prove that humanity deserves a place among the stars." Lily nodded slowly, determination replacing doubt in her eyes. Together, the trio climbed aboard the Eclipse Asterisk and set course for the coordinates mentioned in the encrypted message. Ahead of them lay uncharted space, perilous challenges, and the looming shadow of the Sinarkan. Yet, despite the danger, there was a spark of hope, a belief that even the smallest act of defiance could ignite a revolution. The journey into uncharted space was long and tense. The Eclipse Asterisk drifted silently through the void, its cloaking device masking their presence as they followed the coordinates from the encrypted message. Jack spent most of his time at the helm, poring over star charts and recalibrating the ship's systems. Lily monitored scans for any signs of danger, while Daniel kept a watchful eye on the engines, ensuring the aging vessel could withstand the strain of deep space travel. As they approached the nebula marked in the data, the crew grew quieter. The nebula was a swirling mass of colorful gases and cosmic debris, glowing faintly like a ghostly storm. It was beautiful but unsettling, shrouded in mystery. According to Daniel, few ships ever ventured this far into the galaxy. Those that did rarely returned. "This place feels wrong," Lily murmured, staring at the view screen. "Like it's hiding something." "It probably is," Daniel replied grimly. "The Synarchan don't leave things lying around unless they're dangerous." Jack tightened his grip on the controls. "We didn't come all this way to turn back now. Let's see what's inside." The Eclipse slipped into the nebula, its sensors struggling to penetrate the thick clouds of gas. Visibility dropped sharply, forcing them to rely on intuition and guesswork. As they navigated deeper, strange readings began to appear on the scanners. Energy signatures that pulsed erratically, unlike anything they'd seen before. Then, without warning, the ship jolted violently, as if struck by an invisible force. Alarms blared, and lights flickered across the control panel. "What was that?" Lily shouted, gripping her seat. "Gravitational anomaly," Daniel said, checking the engine readings. "Something big is out there." Jack adjusted the thrusters, steering the Eclipse toward the source of the disturbance. Moments later, the nebula parted slightly, revealing a sight that left them speechless. Hidden within the swirling gases was a sprawling colony of derelict ships and makeshift structures, cobbled together from scraps of metal and alien technology. It looked like a refuge for those fleeing something or someone. "They're alive," Lily whispered, pointing to faint signs of movement among the ruins. Daniel frowned. "This doesn't make sense. Why would anyone stay here? This place is practically floating in enemy territory." Curiosity outweighed caution, and Jack guided the Eclipse closer. As they landed on a crumbling platform, a group of figures emerged from the shadows. They were a mix of humans and aliens, their faces weary but resolute. One woman stepped forward, her sharp gaze locking onto Jack. She introduced herself as Sophia Grayson, the leader of the colony. "We've been expecting you," she said simply. "How did you know we were coming?" Jack asked, suspicion creeping into his voice. Sophia smiled faintly. "The same way you found this place. Someone sent us a message about the Nexus core." Lily exchanged a glance with Jack. "You know about it?" Sophia nodded. "It's real, and it's guarded by forces beyond anything you've faced so far. But destroying it won't be easy. You'll need allies, and information only we can provide." As the group followed Sophia deeper into the colony, they saw remnants of ancient civilizations scattered throughout the wreckage. Crumbling statues, broken weapons, and faded murals told stories of races that had risen against the Synarchan and paid the price. The air was heavy with the weight of failure, a stark reminder of what happened when rebellion went wrong. "You think humanity is ready for this?" Sophia asked, her tone serious. "The Synarchan don't forgive. If you succeed, they'll hunt every last one of you down." Jack met her gaze squarely. "If we fail, they'll do the same anyway. We're not here to run anymore." Sophia studied him for a moment, then nodded. "Very well. I'll help you find the Nexus core. But remember, you're not just fighting for yourselves. You're fighting for everyone who's ever suffered under their rule." The weight of her words settled over the crew as they prepared to move forward. For the first time, they truly understood the scale of what they were up against. Yet, amidst the fear and uncertainty, a spark of hope remained. Together, they might just stand a chance. With Sophia's guidance, the crew of the Eclipse began preparing for the next phase of their mission. The colony, though battered and worn, was a treasure trove of knowledge about the Synarchan. Sophia had spent years gathering intelligence from refugees and survivors who had fled the Empire's wrath. She shared everything she knew with Jack, Lily, and Daniel, painting a clearer picture of the Nexus core and the forces protecting it. "The Nexus core is located in the heart of Synarchan space," Sophia explained as they gathered around a makeshift table covered in maps and diagrams. "It's surrounded by layers of defense, warships, automated drones, and elite soldiers trained to kill without mercy. Lily frowned, tracing the routes marked on the map. How do we even get close? They'll see us coming from light years away. That's where this comes in, Daniel said, tapping a small device on the table. It was a prototype cloaking generator he had salvaged and upgraded during their journey. If we time it right, we can slip past their patrols. But once we're inside, we're on our own. Sophia nodded. You'll need more than just stealth. My people have been building weapons and tools to fight back against the Synarchan. Take what you need. It's the least we can do. Jack hesitated, glancing at the faces of the colonists. Many of them were tired, their bodies scarred from battles long past. Yet, despite their hardships, they offered whatever help they could. Why are you doing this? He asked Sophia. If we fail, the Synarchan will come here and destroy you. Sophia's expression softened, but her voice remained firm. Because someone has to stand up to them. If we keep hiding, nothing will ever change. And if you succeed, maybe my people can finally live free. Her words struck a chord with Jack. He realized that this mission wasn't just about humanity claiming its place among the stars. It was about giving hope to everyone trapped under the Synarchan's rule. With renewed determination, he turned to his team. Let's make this count. Over the next few days, the crew worked tirelessly alongside the colonists, outfitting the Eclipse with new weapons and shields. Sophia introduced them to several skilled engineers who helped reinforce the ship's hull and improve its engines. By the time they finished, the Eclipse looked almost unrecognizable, its patched-up exterior now bristling with firepower and advanced tech. As they prepared to leave, tensions began to rise within the group. Daniel pulled Jack aside one evening, his face grim. You're asking a lot from these people, he said. What happens if we can't protect them after all this? We'll find a way, Jack replied, though his voice lacked conviction. We don't have a choice. Meanwhile, Lily found herself drawn to Sophia, seeking her advice on navigating the moral complexities of their mission. Do you ever wonder if we're making the right decision? Lily asked during one of their late-night conversations, what if we're no better than the Synarchan once we take their power? Sophia placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Power itself isn't evil. It's how you use it that matters. You're not doing this to dominate others. You're doing it to give them a chance to choose their own path. That makes all the difference. The night before their departure, the colonists held a small gathering to wish the crew well. Songs were sung, stories were shared, and promises were made. Sophia approached Jack as the celebration wound down. Remember, she said, the Synarchan thrive on fear. Show them they're not invincible, and the rest of the galaxy will follow your lead. Jack nodded, feeling the weight of her trust pressing down on him. The next morning, the Eclipse launched into the void once again, leaving the nebula and its fragile refuge behind. Ahead lay the most dangerous part of their journey, the heart of Synarchan territory. As the ship sped toward its destination, the crew steeled themselves for what was to come. They knew the odds were against them, but they also knew failure wasn't an option. For the first time, they felt truly united, not just as individuals, but as representatives of something greater. The closer the Eclipse got to Synarchan space, the heavier the tension became. The crew worked in silence, each lost in their own thoughts. Jack sat at the helm, his hand steady on the controls, but his mind raced with doubts. Could they really pull this off? What if they were walking into a trap? Beside him, Lily monitored the ship's sensors, her eyes scanning for any sign of danger. Daniel stayed near the engines, muttering to himself as he double-checked every system. We're entering their territory, Lily announced, breaking the quiet. I'm picking up multiple energy signatures ahead. Jack nodded, gripping the controls tighter. Activate the cloaking device. Let's stay invisible for as long as we can. The Eclipse slipped into Synarchan-controlled space, its presence masked by the upgraded cloaking generator. The view screen showed a vast expanse of stars, but scattered among them were ominous shapes, warships, drones, and orbital stations bristling with weapons. It was a fortress, designed to keep intruders out and enemies under control. As they moved deeper, the crew began to notice something unsettling. The region was eerily empty. There were no civilian ships, no signs of life beyond the Synarchan's military might. It was as if the Empire had drained the area of everything except its own forces. The sight sent a chill through Lily. "They've stripped this place bare," she said softly. "It's like they don't care about anything but power." "They don't," Daniel replied bitterly. "To them, everyone else is just fuel for their machine. If we let them, they'll do the same to Earth." The reminder hardened Jack's resolve. He focused on the mission, guiding the Eclipse toward the coordinates Sophia had provided. But as they approached the Nexus core, cracks began to form within the team. Daniel confronted Jack in the ship's cramped common area. "You're rushing into this without thinking it through," he snapped. "You talk about freedom and hope, but what happens when the fighting starts? People will die, including us." "We knew the risks when we started," Jack shot back. "This isn't about being reckless. It's about doing what needs to be done." "And what about humanity?" Daniel pressed. "Are you sure they're ready to handle the responsibility of leading the galaxy, or are you just trading one tyrant for another?" Jack didn't have an answer. He turned away, leaving Daniel fuming in the corner. Meanwhile, Lily struggled with her own doubts. She missed her family back on Earth and wondered if she'd ever see them again. Her conversations with Sophia replayed in her mind. The warnings about the cost of power and the burden of leadership. Was humanity truly prepared for what lay ahead? Despite their inner conflicts, the crew pressed forward. As they neared the Nexus core, the defenses grew denser. Massive warships patrolled the area, their weapons glowing ominously. Automated drones darted between them, scanning for intruders. The Eclipse systems groaned under the strain of maintaining the cloak. "We're not going to make it past all of this," Lily said, her voice trembling. "There are too many of them." "We have to try," Jack replied firmly. "If we turn back now, everything we've done will be for nothing." Lily wanted to argue, but she couldn't. Deep down, she knew he was right. They had come too far to give up. Taking a deep breath, she focused on the task at hand, guiding the ship through the maze of enemy forces. Finally, after hours of nerve-wracking maneuvering, the Nexus core came into view. It was a colossal structure, pulsing with energy and surrounded by layers of defense. The sight was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Jack felt a surge of determination. This was it, their chance to strike a blow against the Synarchan. But as they prepared to execute their plan, the stress took its toll. Voices were raised, tempers flared, and old wounds resurfaced. Yet, amidst the chaos, a fragile unity remained. They were bound together by a shared purpose, even if that purpose seemed impossible. Together, they steeled themselves for the final push, knowing that failure meant certain death, and success carried its own heavy price. The final leg of their journey was the most dangerous. The Nexus core loomed ahead, a massive structure glowing with an eerie blue light. It floated in the center of a vast field of debris, remnants of ships and stations destroyed by the Synarchan over the centuries. The air around it crackled with energy, and waves of automated drones patrolled the perimeter, scanning for any sign of intrusion. Jack sat at the helm of the Eclipse, sweat beading on his forehead as he guided the ship closer. The cloaking device hummed softly, masking their presence from the Synarchan sensors. But Jack knew it wouldn't hold forever, not against this many defenses. "We're almost there," he said, his voice tight with focus. "Just a little further." Lily monitored the scanners, her fingers flying across the controls. "Their patrols are getting tighter. If we make one wrong move, they'll spot us." Daniel worked frantically at the rear of the ship, rerouting power to keep the cloak stable. "This thing wasn't built for this kind of pressure," he muttered. One surge, and were visible. Despite the tension, the crew moved like a well-oiled machine, each person playing their part without hesitation. They had trained for this moment, but nothing could fully prepare them for the reality of facing the Synarchan's might. As they approached the outer layer of defenses, Jack made a decision. We can't go straight in. We'll have to use the debris field as cover. He steered the Eclipse into the wreckage, weaving through jagged chunks of metal and shattered hulls. The ship shuddered with every close call, but they remained undetected. Finally, they'd reached the edge of the Nexus core. The structure was even larger up close, its surface covered in strange alien symbols that pulsed with energy. A single massive gate stood open, guarded by a squadron of Synarchan warriors clad in sleek black armor. Their weapons glowed faintly, ready to strike at a moment's notice. "We need a distraction," Jack said, his mind racing. "Something to draw their attention away from the gate." "I'll do it," Daniel volunteered, surprising everyone. "I can take one of the escape pods and lead them off our trail." "No," Lily protested. "You'll get yourself killed." "It's the only way," Daniel replied firmly. "Besides, I've been running from the Synarchan my whole life. Maybe it's time I stopped." Before anyone could argue further, Daniel climbed into one of the escape pods and launched himself toward the enemy forces. As soon as he exited the Eclipse, he activated the pod's thrusters, drawing the attention of the Synarchan guards. Alarms blared, and the warriors turned their focus to the intruder, firing relentlessly at the tiny vessel. "Now," Jack shouted, seizing the opportunity. He guided the Eclipse through the chaos, slipping past the distracted guards and into the Nexus core's interior. Inside, the structure was a labyrinth of twisting corridors and pulsating energy conduits. The air shimmered with heat, and the sound of machinery echoed through the halls. Jack, Lily, and Daniel's replacement plan kicked into gear. They split up to cover more ground, searching for the central chamber where the core's systems could be disabled. But the Synarchan weren't fooled for long. Reinforcements poured into the structure, cutting off their escape routes. Jack and Lily fought their way forward, using makeshift weapons scavenged from the colonists. Every step felt heavier than the last, the weight of their mission pressing down on them. When they finally reached the central chamber, they found themselves face to face with Cal Vorn, the towering commander of the Synarchan forces. His armor gleamed menacingly, and his voice boomed like thunder. "You think you can challenge us? You are nothing but insects." Jack stood tall despite the fear coursing through him. "Maybe we're insects, but even insects can bring down giants." With no time to waste, Jack and Lily initiated the failsafe mechanism, triggering a countdown to overload the Nexus core. Alarms screamed, and the entire structure began to shake violently. Jack stayed behind to ensure the process completed, while Lily ran back toward the Eclipse. As she reached the ship, she looked back one last time, tears streaming down her face. The Nexus core exploded in a blinding flash of light, sending shockwaves rippling through space. For a moment, everything went silent. Then, slowly, the Synarchan's grip on the galaxy began to crumble. The explosion of the Nexus core lit up the void like a second sun. Waves of energy radiated outward, disrupting the Synarchan's network across the galaxy. Ships powered down mid-flight, drones froze in place, and entire fleets were left adrift. The once unstoppable empire was suddenly vulnerable, its iron grip shattered in an instant. Lily sat at the controls of the Eclipse, her hands trembling as she guided the ship away from the chaos. Behind her, the glowing remnants of the Nexus core faded into the darkness. She glanced back one last time, her heart heavy with the knowledge that Jack had stayed behind to ensure the failsafe completed. His final words echoed in her mind. "Get everyone out. Tell them we did it." Tears blurred her vision, but she forced herself to focus. The mission wasn't over yet. The Eclipse was battered and barely holding together, its systems strained from the intense energy surge. Daniel, who had miraculously survived his escape pod maneuver, limped into the cockpit, his face pale and streaked with soot. "We need to jump now," he said hoarsely, "before more ships arrive." Lily nodded, punching in the coordinates for a nearby safe zone. The engines roared as the Eclipse leaped into hyperspace, leaving the ruins of the Nexus core far behind. For a few moments, there was silence, only the hum of the ship and the weight of what they had just accomplished. When they emerged from hyperspace, Lily slumped in her seat, exhaustion overtaking her. Daniel collapsed onto the floor, leaning against the wall. Neither of them spoke. There was nothing left to say. They had done the impossible, but the cost had been high. Too high. Hours passed before either of them moved. Finally, Lily stood and walked to the communications console. She recorded a message, her voice steady despite the grief threatening to overwhelm her. "This is Lily Monroe aboard the Eclipse. The Nexus core has been destroyed. The Synarchan's power grid is collapsing. Humanity, we've taken our first step toward freedom. But this victory came at a price. Jack Harper gave everything to make this happen. Remember his name, and remember why we fight." She sent the transmission to Earth and every colony she could reach. By the time she finished, Daniel had joined her, his expression grim but resolute. "What now?" he asked quietly. "We go home," Lily replied, "and we tell everyone what happened here. We honor Jack's sacrifice by finishing what he started." As the Eclipse drifted through space, news of their success spread like wildfire. Refugees hiding in colonies like Sophia's cheered, while oppressed species across the galaxy began to rise up against their Synarchan overlords. The Empire, once thought invincible, was crumbling under the weight of its own hubris. Back on Earth, humanity watched in awe as reports poured in. Monuments were erected in Jack's name, and his story became legend, a symbol of courage and selflessness. Lily returned to a hero's welcome, though she carried the burden of loss with her every day. She dedicated herself to building alliances among the newly freed species, working tirelessly to ensure that the mistakes of the past wouldn't be repeated. Daniel disappeared shortly after their return, unable to face the crowds or the memories. Some said he went back to the stars, searching for a new purpose. Others believed he simply wanted to fade into obscurity, content to let others carry the torch. Sophia Grayson and her people finally emerged from hiding, stepping into a galaxy forever changed. Though scars remained, hope blossomed where fear had once ruled. The Synarchan's fall marked the beginning of a new era, an era defined not by domination, but by unity. For Lily, the road ahead was long and uncertain. But as she looked up at the night sky, she felt a quiet sense of peace. Jack's sacrifice had ignited something greater than any one person, a spark of defiance that would light the way forward. And though the journey was far from over, she knew humanity, and all those who had suffered under the Synarchan, would find their place among the stars. Years passed, and the galaxy transformed in ways no one could have predicted. The fall of the Synarchan marked the end of an era, but it also signaled the dawn of a new one. Humanity, once seen as weak and insignificant, rose to prominence among the stars. Freed species from across the galaxy came together, forming alliances and sharing knowledge. It was a time of rebuilding, of healing wounds inflicted by centuries of oppression. Lily Monroe became a guiding figure during this period of change. Though she never sought fame or power, her role in destroying the Nexus core made her a symbol of hope. She traveled between planets, helping to establish trade routes, mediate disputes, and foster cooperation among the newly liberated civilizations. Her calm demeanor and unwavering determination inspired others to believe in a better future. On Earth, monuments were built not just for Jack Harper, but for all those who had sacrificed everything to free the galaxy. Schools taught the story of the Eclipse and its crew, ensuring that future generations would remember their bravery. Jack's name became synonymous with courage, his actions a reminder that even the smallest act of defiance could spark monumental change. Yet, despite the progress, challenges remained. The collapse of the Synarchan left a power vacuum, and some factions tried to fill it, seeking to exploit the chaos for their own gain. Pirates and rogue warlords attacked vulnerable colonies, while remnants of the Synarchan's forces regrouped in hidden corners of the galaxy. Humanity and its allies had to remain vigilant, working together to protect what they had fought so hard to achieve. Lily often thought about Jack during these difficult times. She wondered if he would be proud of how far they had come, or if he would worry about the dangers still lurking in the shadows. Sometimes, late at night, she would stare at the stars and imagine him standing beside her, offering advice or simply sharing the silence. His absence weighed heavily on her, but it also drove her forward. She knew she couldn't let his sacrifice be in vain. One day, Lily returned to the orbital station Argo *, where it all began. The facility had been upgraded and expanded, now serving as a hub for interstellar diplomacy. As she walked through its halls, she felt a pang of nostalgia. So much had changed since those early days when she and Jack had first decoded the encrypted message. Back then, they had been unsure if humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. Now, there was no doubt. In the main observation deck, Lily met with a group of young scientists and engineers eager to learn from her experiences. They asked questions about the mission, about Jack, and about the lessons she had learned along the way. Lily smiled as she answered, realizing how far humanity had come. These young minds represented the next generation, bright, curious, and full of potential. As she looked out at the stars, Lily reflected on the journey that had brought them here. It hadn't been easy, and there were still battles to fight. But for the first time in history, humanity stood tall among the stars, united with other species in a shared vision of peace and progress. The galaxy was no longer a place of fear and domination. It was a canvas waiting to be painted with dreams and possibilities. And though the scars of the past would always remain, they served as a reminder of how far they had come and how much farther they could go. For Lily, the final hours of the Synarchan's rule weren't just the end of tyranny. They were the beginning of something greater, something worth fighting for, something worth believing in.